7:01. I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Thompson Board of Education, July 14th, to order at 7:01. First item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. So would you lead us, Mrs. Brown?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chairman update. Well, again, we are going back out for another referendum. A lot of unpleasant things in this town. There's a Board of Finance meeting this Thursday night, 7 o'clock. At the Town Hall. And it's not going to be a pleasant one. I urge all of you, any of you who can attend, please attend. And I don't know, the soonest we can take a vote on the budget would be August 19th. That, and then we'd have to have a town meeting prior to that, but that's, just to go to referendum because of the timing of things. As soon as we can have another vote, as you know, 21 town employees have been furloughed. Restricted hours on the transfer station, the library, DPW. And it's level funding. I just don't know how we can emphasize enough that that means the same tax rate as last year. And I know this is affecting the town. They don't have a slush fund. They have and Bill can attest to this. We don't have the money to pay town expenses. The school is in hiatus, so there's really not much we can do. We can't furlough people because the teachers are gone. The cafeteria people are gone. We've got a skeleton staff. For the janitors are here, but we didn't hire any summer help. No summer help, which we usually do, correct, Greg?
Well, we have a couple that we had enough money to cover a couple of summer workers.
Okay, well, maybe that's what we need to do to show solidarity with the town. I don't know, but that's because we're all in this. We'll discuss this later. Anyway, there's got to be some way that we can get parents out to vote. The parents, this is their school too, because their kids come here. And we had, actually for a budget vote, it was a good turnout, it was 30%. Typically budgets somewhere between 16 and 20% of the people come out to vote on a budget, which is pitiful. 30% was a pretty good turnout, but it's, still not enough. I mean, this is how you're supporting your town. And it's not good. But I urge you, everybody, please. Obviously all of you went out to vote, but get your friends, get out and vote. We need to support our town. And we need to support our schools. It's our future that is at stake. And the 19.29 mill rate is level funded, adjusted for the revaluation. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Any citizens' comments? Okay, moving on. Approval of the minutes from our June 9th meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion, Kathleen.
I have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Heather. Okay. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing no discussion, I'll put the motion to approve the minutes of June 9th to the floor for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Motion passes. It's Tom on, okay, motion passes 8-0. Okay, we have on here a referendum discussion, possible action. I'm gonna skip the. Hey,
I put that there because I didn't know when the Board of Finance was going to meet, but it's.
The meeting
meet on
is Thursday.
I think some, if you don't mind, Madam Chair, I think a comment is warranted on that. Melinda, the letter that went out today, I think was pointed and well written. I think I hope Winnie's gonna pick it up and
They did.
publicize it.
They
I
did
didn't see it
already.
yet.
Yeah, they did.
I hope Northeast Newsreel and Quiet Corner and everybody else is gonna pick it up as well. Hopefully
Yep.
they'll get that and move that along. It's interesting to me, and I hope there are people who are on both sides that are listening in the room and on the Zoom. That as soon as a town service was cut, people went up in arms. Our students, our staff, our building have suffered year after year after year with cuts. And when it went up in arms from the students or from our perspective, it fell on deaf ears. So I hope now that people are realizing that there's a little bit of pain on the town side specifically, that it's a little bit more obvious that we hear it in the public school, and we here as a Board of Education have worked hard to balance a budget that makes sense. I think there's a lot of opinions that are being had on social media. Close the high school, turn it into a vocational school. Well, clearly you're not paying attention to what we're doing up here, because we are bringing in vocations, we are bringing in pathways, and although we haven't called it vocations, they are pathways for our students other than the college pathway.
Yeah.
And Heather has done a great job on the communications committee putting stuff out, but it's falling on deaf ears. So I think as we progress to the next referendum, hopefully we've now caught the attention of some individuals, and we can start having the conversations about where we actually have come as a district in the last few years, and not just that, it's some fiscal black hole in the town of Thompson. So I applaud the letter.
I think my
Thank you.
next editorial is going to be around test scores, because that seems to be the thing we're getting criticized about. But yet we've made some good progress, and that needs to be out there in a positive way. So that's my next communication out is around our progress, even though I'm not supposed to talk about SBAC scores because they're embargoed. I can at least say that they've gone up.
Yeah, I think we can say that they've gone up by a rate. I think the other thing that needs to get out there is how we've transitioned, especially with what TJ's done in the high school this year. I think the high school is taking a lot of the brunt of the abuse that's coming out of the public right now. And I think identifying where we've gone in the high school in the last 5 years with pathways and everything, and then as well as where TJ took it in the last year.
Well, we have a preliminary NEAS report that was given to us, right? We should kick that out. We are gonna have a NEAS visit in March. And I think that will come back very favorably. I can't imagine it won't. So that report will really be something we can use as a real foundation. But there is the preliminary report that we can put out there.
Yeah, I just think identifying that we're Turtle Lot is not just a single pathway high school. It's not just college bound. that there are other opportunities that we have. And I think throwing the stats out there that we've had students that went through the welding pathway that now have jobs, certified jobs. We have culinaries that have certified jobs. We have CNAs that have certified jobs. Like these are certifications that these people are walking out of high school with, contributing to society right away. So I think it's funny because when I had a few conversations at the transfer station on Saturday, in which I got yelled at and got kicked out, but it was just a citizen speaking. But when I identified pathways and that there were programs that were created at the high school, there were light bulbs that came on. So I think somehow that needs to get out a little bit more because it's not out enough.
Yeah, we have a nice video, actually. Yeah, we can get that out there again.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I think the other challenge is too, is that sometimes we do put that information out and just people see what they want to see. You know, the rose colored glasses are definitely on, and you know, we have to, it's a tough year because we had reevaluations, and I think that the reevaluations and a housing market that's increased faster than people have probably seen in decades. And then they get the new tax bill, and then they hear increases at the school and increases in the town, that our first referendum, I'm saying. Like it just caused panic and chaos. So it's, I know we're doing everything. We've been steering the ship in the right direction, and we have been for years, and we've been putting the information out. It's just not getting to where it needs to land, I guess you would say, because people have those rose, they're in panic mode. They have the rose colored glasses on, and I've never seen our community in such an uproar like it is. And you know, the letter you did send out was a fantastic letter, but the comments on social media were just ripping it apart. And it's like, I don't know how we get this information out. Is it just falling on deaf ears? And you know, what the right direction is for that aspect of it. You know, and we as a board have to look at, you know, the student population change, the special education increases, like we have a lot of work we gotta do too, so. You know, and I want the taxpayers to know that we'll be working on that. Yeah.
The truth of the matter is that the average increase to the housing through revaluation was 60%. If your house went up more than 60%, yes, your taxes will increase. Now, some of that increase is going to be offset by your vehicle tax. If your house didn't go up 60%, your taxes are going to decrease.
Right.
People just see their houses going up by 40-50%.
Right.
That's a lot.
Right.
But that means your taxes are going to decrease.
Right.
That's what that 19.229, our mill rate was 27 something last year. That's what that, change in the mill rate was.
Yeah.
So that was factored in.
Right.
How many of these people live on the lake? A couple.
Yeah.
That's who was going to get hit, but we were yeah, I know.
Sorry.
Yeah, you chose to live on the lake, and I subsidized the fact that you lived on the lake
I don't
over the
think,
years.
Should I say thank you?
Yeah,
but I don't-
you should.
I don't think it was so much subsidizing as
It wasn't
they were
properly
valued at what they were valued at. The value changed.
Right.
That's where it's at.
Right.
I think when it comes to our jobs here as a Board of Education is to make sure we're putting together a fiscal package that makes sense for our students' populations, that can support the
Correct.
superintendent and the staff at the school, that can give the students of our district the proper education that they need to get.
Don't disagree.
And we've done that year after year. We've been conservative, very conservative in our budgets year after year. We've taken things out when we know that we won't have the pieces of that budget year after year. What frustrates me is 4 years ago, we got chastised upside down, left, right, for not putting away for a rainy day fund for the HVAC, not putting away for a rainy day fund for the track, not putting away for a rainy day fund for the roof.
Yeah.
And here we are, barely trying to educate a population of students, of which we're 16th in the state for special education costs or special education population.
Right.
And the tax base, once again, there's a tax base and it's 60 or 70% of the 30% that voted that said, nope, you don't deserve more money. Nope, we're not giving you more money.
Right.
But those same people are not sitting down with us from January to April
Exactly.
to have the discussions to see where that money's going. They'd like to Monday morning quarterback after the first, second, and third referendums to tell us that a $90,000 health teacher doesn't deserve $90,000 when they don't understand that entire line item. That line item is taken out of context and thrown right under the bus. Right? Just like a superintendent's salary, just like a high school principal's salary. Right? They're not paid on population. They're paid based on their credentials. And if you can find someone to do a superintendent's job in any district for less than what we're currently compensating our superintendent for to deal with what our superintendent is dealing with, then sure, bring them to the table.
Right, right. I
Bring the
looked-
health teacher to the
I
table.
looked that up and Melinda is the median pay rate for superintendents in the state.
Yeah.
So,
She's
sorry,
paid less than Putnam, she's paid less than Woodstock.
I'd also like to note that Woodstock's new superintendent, because it was a comment on one of the lovely pages in town that you're retired and you're collecting a retirement. Their superintendent, their new one that's coming in, is retiring from the western side of the state and is taking a position making $10,000 more than you are right now
For K through 8.
for just K through. So
I-
the salary thing,
You gotta remember, the longer I'm here,
mhm,
so superintendent shelf life is short, really.
Right.
3 to 5 years, usually that's average. So the longer you're here, then your salary goes up.
well, and I don't want to, I mean, the salary discussion aside, we've done what we've done as a board.
Mhm.
We've gone line by line through a budget. We were accused and I know it's coming up in item B. We were accused at the last board meeting of not being we were accused as a board as a whole of not being trustworthy, of hiding money, of hiding finances, of playing shell games. And I have noticed that that individual
not here.
is not here today to apologize or even correct the record. So for those individuals, for those citizens, the last time they were up here to say they were not up here to give you an I gotcha, that's all they were here for.
Exactly.
We have spent countless hours, individuals contacting the superintendent, the finance director, who took personal attacks in that, board members who were told they were not being trustworthy. I think, we have done what we needed to do. Heather has done a great job with communication, but I just think we're in a year where it doesn't matter what that mill rate is, there are gonna be 1,100 people that are gonna say no. And the goal at this point is gonna be to get 1,100 people on top of the 500 that are already there to say yes.
Yeah, I know, I agree with you, Justin. I certainly do. We've got to get more people out to
Mhm.
say yes.
I also want on the record too, like the drop in enrollment has nothing to do with the school system itself. It's a issue across America. There's just less children.
Yeah.
Like, and that is another thing that's used against us. And it's like, people are living longer in their homes. And your baby boomers are staying home longer, and young adults are either waiting longer or having less children. So there's just less children, period. And all school districts are experiencing this. All school districts are experiencing a decrease in their enrollment.
Yes.
Except for maybe Canterbury. I did redo my research and Canterbury is increasing. But, so to have that used against us is frustrating because that's not in our power. But we can acknowledge, yes, and we're working on, plans and ideas moving forward. And the other thing to kind of piggyback off what Justin said about the what people are paid, and it's our teachers in the state of Connecticut, they have to have a master's degree. And to say that they're not getting paid enough when they've done
5.5, maybe 6 years of school to have this degree. And and to ask them to be paid peanuts is preposterous. Who would work somewhere and for somebody to say that? And also for Melinda, she's a CEO. She's a CEO of a school. She's overseeing thousands of people. What CEO makes $187 of company for thousands of people? You know, so like people need to like break down what it actually is.
Right.
And I just wish that in the emotion of the anger, we can just really just get down to like it's not what they're blowing it up to be. It
No,
really
yeah.
isn't,
You're right.
you know?
If I may, one more comment, I want to piggyback off something Melinda said about posting test scores. I put this out a couple of years ago. We don't get to resume our students. So anybody who compares our students to employees at a company, and if the
Yeah.
company was failing, you know, we would get different employees. Well, we don't get to choose what students come and don't come to public school, first off. This morning on the news, I heard that there's a 21% increase year over year in youth crime. I mean, if that doesn't say anything about the youth that our student or that our other students, that our staff, that our administrators are dealing with, I mean, we know behavior is an issue. For anybody who says that, you know, put 30 kids in a kindergarten classroom, they haven't been in a kindergarten classroom in the last few years. Teachers, these educators are no longer just teaching writing and arithmetic. They are now having to somewhat parent the children at school. Just to get the behavior under control. So I implore people to open their eyes to where we are nationally, but even more so, we're in a small focused district, and there are children in our district that desperately need help, that desperately need parents, that desperately need role models. And this back and forth that's going on social media that just continues to bash the Thompson public school systems doesn't bring up the morale of anybody. We have a high school principal who has literally flipped that place around in 9 months, to the point where you can talk to students that were there 9 months ago who are ecstatic about being there. They want to be there. They love the branding that's there now. They love the education they're getting. So for this negative crap that's been going on social media every time about, you know, it's a $22 million failing system.
No.
Come here and participate and see what's going on, and then still tell me it's failing. So Melinda, again, thank you for the letter. I think it was well pointed. It was needed. I really hope that the town, through pain that it's currently suffering, sees that we do have a chance to do something right and move forward and progress.
And we'll keep on top of our state reps about advocating for proper funding for mandates. And the challenge of a lot of federal mandates being financially cut as well.
That's a scary.
Yeah, so, you know, that's another hurdle that we'll be facing.
Yep.
So,
Okay, let's move on, please. Briefly, the Medicaid update, please, Bill.
So I asked Bill to put together a presentation in response to a lot of misinformation that's out there about the Medicaid reimbursement that the district receives. Bill has done, I can't tell you how many man hours he's put into responding to FOIA requests and other information that he's had to put together for this. And I thank him from the bottom of my heart, because it threw him off closing the year end, and we're kind of behind at this point. So he's going to make this presentation, and then we're going to put this topic to bed.
Thanks, Melinda. Just a quick update to bring everybody up to speed on both the work that happened prior to the last Board of Ed meeting and then since then. So as many of you know, in April, we received a FOIA request asking for our Medicaid reimbursements for the last 7 years. Actually, there you go. Thank you, Danielle. This data was promptly provided to the requester. This data outlines 2019 through at that point in the year in April 2025 claims year to date. And these numbers agree to the Department of Social Services public payment data. could you go to the next slide, please? After providing this information, the requester filed a similar FOIA request with DSS. Unfortunately, DSS provided the requester gross claims data in response to his request. That led to some concerns that we had underreported the amount of Medicaid reimbursement that we had received. In seeing this, I had quite a lengthy back and forth with DSS to try to get to the bottom of the discrepancy between the two sets of numbers. And was able to demonstrate to them using their own payment data that's actually posted on their website, that indeed the amounts that they had provided to the requester were the gross claim amounts, not the 25% reimbursement payment that we receive. Melinda, while all of this was going on, actually reached out directly to the DSS commissioner and asked for confirmation that indeed this was the 25%. And you can see that email. We did receive confirmation that we get reimbursed at 25% of the gross amount. It wasn't actually from the commissioner. I believe it was from their legal counsel.
Yes.
Next slide, please. Following resolution of the gross claims matter, concerns were then raised that we were now over-reporting the amount of Medicaid reimbursement we received. In response to this, I provided the requester a detailed reconciliation of the DSS provided payments. And in a nutshell, what it boils down to is that the reimbursements that we receive as a district are made up of three main components: direct claim, which is what you would think of. We submit our claims and we get an initial payment on those claims. Administration related costs. These are costs that the reimbursement payments that we receive to help offset the fact that we have staff. This takes, I cannot tell you, and finance is not directly involved in this, but I can't tell you the amount of work that goes into gathering this data and filing these claims. To tell you the truth, I'm glad I'm not involved in it because it's just not a pleasant process. But those payments in the middle column there represent those administrative payments. Cost settlement is the third component. These claims have a tail, if you will. You get that initial payment in the direct claim bucket. And then over the next year or two, these claims ultimately settle out, and those flow into our reimbursement through that cost settlement payment. When you add those three types of payments up, you get our total. And that actually ties back to the Medicaid reimbursement payment information that we provided in response to the original FOIA request. So in conclusion, the Medicaid reimbursement data that we provided was accurate and is directly supported by DSS's payment information, which I'd invite you all to go check out the spreadsheets they post online. Bring a magnifying glass. They're extremely difficult to read and to decode, but ultimately when you do parse them apart, our numbers did hold up. And we continue to use that. No, I think it looks like our fiscal 2025 amount was, somewhere around $26,000. And we're treating that like we've done in the past. We set that aside, and at the end of the year, we use it to offset costs that essentially help drive that claim activity. So it's a little bit of money that does help the BOE budget out in the end.
And we did provide this information to the person requesting it.
Yes.
And a correction has never been posted on any of the social media sites.
Can this be posted to our,
We can put this on
Yeah.
our website.
yeah, as a
If you want
follow
on
up?
Facebook.
Yeah, I think that would be great. So we
I think
can,
posting it to our website within that budget information tab, Board of Education, whatever, within our notes, our meeting minutes.
Right, okay,
Oh.
website.
Yes.
Well, Matt can go first.
Bill, is there a reason that we only get 25? I know there is a reason. Do you know the reason we only get 25% of that claim?
Yes,
I know you know.
that's actually how it was set by the state. The actual formula is that we get this, not just we, all
Yeah.
districts get 50% of the federal share of the Medicaid reimbursement. The federal share is 50%. So we get 50% of
Of the
50%,
50%.
which is 25%, which is all extremely clear. But
And
that's how it goes.
So where's the other 75% of that claim?
To either to the state or to the federal government. And unfortunately, all the
So they
districts
give us
get 25%.
to take it back.
It's frankly, it's infuriating.
Yeah.
Because those costs that are being reimbursed were incurred here
Here.
by our school district and paid for by our taxpayers.
Right. Right. Thank you.
What? Yes.
Madam Chair, if I may, I'd like to commend Mr. Steglitz on his professional handling of this situation. It was not
Yeah.
easy.
No.
As I mentioned previously, he fell under personal attack by name. For the supposed accusation of what was going on, it would have had to have gone on between 3 finance directors and at least 2 superintendents.
Mhm.
But the way that Mr. Steglitz handled it was professional in every aspect. Even through the frustrations, I witnessed personally attacks, and I commend him 100% on his professionalism. This man here in front of us today is beyond reproach when it comes to specifically this topic. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Oh, can I, Kathleen, real quick? I want to say the same thing. Thank you, Bill. And then just to like let everybody know publicly, so if you own a medical Medicaid stuff is billed differently than a school district's Medicaid, all right, because I think that was also like
It really
Yeah.
boils down to
Yeah.
DSS administers this school-based child health program,
okay,
and it really has its own set of rules.
Right.
And to be clear, they are challenging to decode and follow.
right, so if it was a doctor's office or a medical,
Yeah.
they would bill differently,
Right.
so I can see where that person was confused.
Mhm.
I know we didn't get a public apology. Did you get a thank you?
I did hear from him, yes, and he did thank me for the table that we provided.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
But I have directed Bill not to spend any more time on this.
Yeah,
topic.
absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because along with the thank you was like 15 or 20 different questions.
Yeah.
That he wanted answered.
Thanks, Bill.
Yes, Bill.
Anyway, moving on, food services update.
I want to introduce Deb Mita, if you haven't already met her. Deb is our new food service director, replacing Lisa Durand after her retirement. We are very fortunate to have her in the district, but she's got a couple of topics she needs to bring up. One about the free, watch the cord, free breakfast and lunch program that we qualify for, but we may not be able to afford. And then we do need to raise our meal prices. Yeah.
Did we ever get a settlement? Sorry, did we ever get a settlement for last year where we stood? I didn't see the end of year data come
We're-
through.
That's
So
curious.
Deb has reduced the, so we ended the year around $6,000 in the hole. And Deb actually whittled that down to a little over 3,000.
I'm not looking at about 34 today,
But
but I sent letters out again
59.
today,
Mhm.
electronically and, the ones that undeliverable, by mail. And next week, I'm hoping to send them all out certified, so we have until the start of the school year, so I'm just gonna keep pursuing and making phone calls and sending emails and trying to get more money.
Okay. Can we get I'm sorry, can we get that end of year data
Sure.
gathered and then so that we can capture? This is important to capture, especially because we're in the middle of this budget season.
Mhm.
That was gonna be $6,000-ish that was gonna be on the taxpayer that we have worked to recoup 50% of it.
Yeah.
Down to $3,000. It goes to show that we're still doing every nickel and dime we're trying to recover here in the district.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, but
Kathleen.
Yes.
If we were a wealthier district, we could just
Absorb.
write off the,
Mhm.
and kid, kids should have a free lunch if they need it. And, and even if they don't, if it wasn't paid, if it was $6,000, we could afford it, we would be nice to just be able to write it off without having to worry about every nickel and dime.
Mm.
So, but thank you for the
yeah,
effort.
it's hard because I believe there are families that would qualify for the free and reduced, but getting them to fill out the application is another. Just one of them called it an infill who lost their job. I, said, I'll send you, and they said, oh, I already have it, just don't have time to fill it out. it's just like
Yeah.
the repercussions of not filling out the form,
Right.
making you qualify. So maybe just going forward, especially as I get into high school, because the free and reduced can give them a lot more other advantages for
Mhm.
reduced athletic fees to SAT testings, waivering some of those. So maybe just, communicating those type of things, my hopes were going forward. And then, really staying on top of it with emails up every week. And then phone calls at $15. And then I was reading through the Connecticut state guidelines, and their recommendation is that when a student is negative 30 meals, that your homeless liaison gets involved.
Hmm.
So that could help maybe with some reduced applications and
Are you working with Teague on any of this currently?
no,
No,
no.
as far as what?
Just, a lot of that goes through, a lot of the forms and letters and whatnot had gone through Teague in the past, right?
Oh, no, not
No.
not free and reduced, no. Yeah, I think
No.
you're thinking preschool tuition, that goes through Teague,
Yeah.
but not free and reduced. They help us out when we have situations where there's food insecurity in the home, we will contact them to help the family out, and they're right there for us. But I think reaching out to Ashlyn and having her, you're gonna have a list probably,
Yes.
in August, and sending that out to Ashlyn to see if she can connect with those families is a good thing.
Yeah, plus providing information about Teague, are there other resources for them? Just looking into, there's gonna be a lot of SNAP reductions this year too,
Mm.
which is
Yep.
gonna probably increase the amount of money owed. So I did a quick, so anyway, so regarding the numbers. So there's a price equity formula that we must complete for the state when we're determining how much we're charging. And we need to become part of the required average price, which would be $3.36. So I projected to increase the elementary school by 10 cents, in the high school by 20, and we would be at that 336. The difference for the high school and the middle school is because we're serving more food for them. For example, a pasta for an elementary is gonna be 6 ounces, the high school is gonna be 8 ounces. They're hungrier, they're gonna take more fresh fruits and vegetables, so I didn't do it even across the board, and they weren't the same price to begin with, in case anybody was wondering. Yeah, so for just a summary of this past year, we served 72,380 lunches. And of that, 60% of those meals that we served were for free and reduced students.
Hmm.
And then we served 52,270 breakfast, and 54 of those meals that were served are free and reduced. We're feeding a lot of kids. So regarding the CEP, we do qualify for CEP, which we could do free breakfast and lunch. The issue is that we're only going to receive 44 cents for every meal for a paid student. I can't feed a student on 44 cents. We would
No.
we don't have the funds, we would
Mhm.
just belly up, we would, yeah.
So you're telling me earlier that our rate has to get, our free and
Yes.
reduced rate has to get
Yeah,
between
speaking with our
50 and
rep, yeah,
60.
we're best to be in the low 60s, but try to run at it, we would have to be in about the 50 percentile for free and reduced. So the more applications we can get completed, the better off we would be. So in case you're just wondering, I did say. So for a free meal, we get $4.43. For a reduced meal, we get $4.03. And for a paid meal, we currently get 42 cents, which is basically like the new program. So that's basically all you're getting.
So in the past, what's the procedure to getting the applications out? Is it just in the beginning of the school year packet? Is
My
there
understanding
follow-up?
it's part of the handbook, which is why I'm
Yeah.
here tonight, so that we can get the paperwork going to
Well,
Yeah.
create the changes in the handbook for, yeah.
so initially, the application will go out with it, via US mail,
yes.
with my newsletter.
Okay.
And that'll come out in the beginning of August. Everybody gets a physical copy at home. It's accessible on the websites, all the
Yes.
school websites. And they can fill it in right online and submit it so that it's confidential. Then the food service director starts to make, I mean, we've got direct certs from the state.
Yes.
So there is a portion of those families that don't even have to fill them out because they are already directly certified. But then the next layer is that teachers usually, or principals usually ask food service director to make that outreach again. And we send it out 2 or 3 times a year. And then when parents call me or we start to ask them to pay their huge lunch balances, I will tell them, I can waive this for you if you would just fill out the form. So it's really making those personal connections, but there's a lot of time and effort. During the COVID years, it was great. Everybody was free. And we didn't have to spend a whole lot of time on that. We're back to spending a lot of time on collections.
Yes, Kristen.
Does it affect, so like I had somebody ask if they're like a higher income family in comparison to the district and wouldn't qualify, they don't fill it out because they don't want to hurt. Is that true, or does it not matter what you're making?
Yeah, it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't hurt us by having them complete an application
Okay, I
and not
think-
get approved.
Right, I think they're thinking that that makes it the percentage, you know
No.
what I mean, total less, so they don't do it because they don't want the other kids to not get food. So that's not the case.
That's not the case.
So my question is partly from my knowledge, but mostly not. So if you fill out this form and you get the free or reduced lunch, the child going through the lunch line, nobody else knows.
No.
No,
Exactly, so
no.
it's.
And it's always
that's what I
been my
thought.
rule of thumb. One, it
Right.
doesn't appear
Right.
on the screen anyway, so they
Right.
can't see it. If a student was to ask me, do I have money in my account? It's always, oh, don't worry, honey. Your mother and father paid for the whole year. We don't share that information. And we don't share it with teachers unless, there are certain people that do need that information, but they do have to sign off that they're not gonna share. It's a formality to, yes.
So that was my,
It's
that was
personal
my
information.
question to you to make it public so your kid going through the line, nobody else knows.
Nobody else
Nobody
knows.
else knows. Please fill out the form.
Nobody else knows.
They're just not allowed to buy a la carte items. They can buy a meal, but they can't buy a
Yes.
la carte items.
Yeah, unless they have cash in hand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Can't do.
Yes,
Right.
and I just, because I've only been here a month, so going through the different softwares that you use versus the past, and there is a report that I can run too, that I can identify students that are free and reduced that aren't using it. So hopefully we could feed more students, even though they're already, and maybe they're not aware of it, or they're afraid to go through the line, so I'm gonna reach out to those parents, at the beginning of the school year saying, Jimmy's free and reduced, but he's not coming through for breakfast or lunch, is there an issue? And kind of, go at it as a one student at a time type of thing, and maybe we can, the goal is to feed the kids, so,
Right.
Yeah.
So please,
So,
please,
make sure.
please fill out the forms.
yes.
There's a lot of kids that bring home lunch too, and their parents don't fill them out because they don't eat, so they don't see how this could be necessary.
Yes.
You just,
Yeah, I was gonna bring this up next month, but this seems like a perfect time to bring it up. At the beginning of the year, the amount of forms that come home for each student in the district is astronomical. Right? There's the medical form, there's the this form, there's the that form, there's the this contact form. We've got Tyler, or had Tyler, Power School, whatever it is, right? All that data has been captured year after year after year. Is there a way, and this goes for free and reduced lunch, to either pre-fill the forms with the student, at least the student's name, at what we have on record for that? Same thing goes, and I don't know if it's the law or the rule or whatever, but same thing goes for medical forms. We fill out the same medical form every single year. This emergency contact information, that emergency contact information. And can we just send it home, verify it, and send it back, versus sending a blank form home to go, oh God, what's Kathy's phone number again? It's one of those things where I think if we can make it, I hate to say this because it frustrates me at work, if we can make it easier for the person to send it back, it's probably gonna come back faster or at all than if we don't.
We can look at it. I'm just thinking man hours, especially looking forward on some of the
Mhm.
potential reductions. That means secretarial staff, then who's going to do it?
Yep.
That's a
No.
worry to me.
And I completely understand. If it's something where like we can, and I would look to Heather, but Heather's not here, but is it something that can pop out of Power School? Where, hey, here's a 2-page thing for your data.
Let me
Verify.
find out what's going home.
Yep.
And let me see if it's redundant. I think that's where to start.
Well,
And if I can reduce that, that might help.
That little blue
it's the same, but it's, yeah, so, and it's also goes to our medical system. Just kind of piggybacking that, like, we have computers, this information should be following us through from elementary to middle to high school. Or from year to year, it's all there. Let's just, yeah, it's the same. I haven't moved in 23 years and
The problem, I know on the medical forms, the emergency contact, often, those do have to be updated because God forbid we have an issue.
Right, but
And the contact information isn't accurate.
And it also just says, if you have multiple children in the
It's-
district, you have to fill one out for every child,
Yeah.
even though it's the same data.
So it'd be
Yeah.
nice if we could use these
Mhm.
computers to our advantage, and I'm not, it's obviously we can't.
Yeah.
You know,
Has to be updated every year.
Yeah, which is, and I'm not disagreeing that it has to be updated, but sending a
Blank versus a.
blank versus a pre-filled copy that says verify this information and sign it.
and that's not to put all the work on the admin's shoulders, but more work on the computer that has the
The
information.
information.
So I don't know,
If there's a
obviously,
report.
as a dumb old
If there's a
geologist, I don't know.
I'm not asking,
I don't know the answer to
Right.
that, but I will talk to Heather and see if there's something that can pre-populate some of these documents. And I also don't know, classroom teachers asking for another sheet of paper that's already in
Sometimes,
Power.
yeah.
So, I'll look into what's going home at the beginning of school. I send my stuff via the mail because I want that free and reduced lunch application back, and usually
They do
in
need to
there,
be updated, that
that has to
carries
be
them through the
updated.
end of October, but if a new application is not completed, then they go back to a paid student as of 11/1.
but that
so
data
they-
is digitized somewhere at some
Mhm.
point, correct?
You can, they can fill it out digitally.
Yeah,
We-
well, that's what I did last
Yeah,
year.
because
We
I just
find
send a
more
link to fill-
parents
Yes.
fill it out on the hard copy.
Interesting.
Thank you for hitting the ground
Thank you.
running, though.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
I have one more question. So if I have 5 kids in the district, I only need to fill it out one
Because it's a household.
One per household,
Is
okay.
there a student population that's less apt to bring in their applications? Say maybe like high school students, like is
It's
there?
being sent in by the parent or online
Parent,
by the
yeah.
parent. The student's not gonna know the annual income. of
Yeah,
that.
no, like are they,
Not playing home.
is it getting it's getting mailed to the house, right?
Yes.
They're not
It's
bringing it.
being mailed to the house, emailed to the
Email
house.
to
Okay.
the parent.
And it
email,
comes with a
and
letter.
Parent guardian of, not to the
Yeah.
student, not,
And explaining all of.
yeah,
why it's
not to
so
the
important,
student.
but I don't remember. I'll admit, I was one of those parents that didn't send it in.
Um,
Okay,
any more questions? We're all set?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Deb.
Oh, yeah, do we have to prove the?
Yes, you do
Yes.
have to approve the price increase. I don't know if we put it under old or new business.
It's possible action, so.
So
Yeah, okay, new business.
need a motion.
I'll make
Okay,
a motion to move.
To approve the price increase for the lunches, we'll put that under,
Business.
Second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So the next thing under my report is part of actually the negotiations with the secretary union. We have a position who is the secretary to Dr. Jones, Pupil Service Director. And over the years, that particular position has evolved out of just being a regular secretary's job. And so there isn't anyone in the current union that could bid into that position. And it's problematic because there is specific skills and training that job now is requiring, and it has changed in the 8 years that I've been here. And that particular person has to do more and more, figuring out reports, doing training for teachers, and keeping on top of SEDS data, Medicaid reimbursement data. April's the one who sends it off to. And so the job has evolved, and there is a confidentiality piece to that particular position, right? And so the concern is that it's evolved over time, and it is no longer a secretary position, and we can no longer allow for just a bidding system into that job. And so really this is taking the position out of the union, and making that position an executive assistant to the people service director, similar to the position that Danielle holds for me. And so before we can move forward to take this position out of the union, I have to negotiate with the employee, have her accept it. And then the union didn't say that they would fight us on taking it out of the union, which is a rarity. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention. I don't know if it needs your approval, but I thought before we move forward, I wanted the board to be informed that that's not going to be a secretarial position anymore. It's going to be an executive assistant position. The same person is going to hold the job. I have to sit with her and negotiate her contract. She will be an at-will employee, similar to how Danielle is paid and some of our non-certified people. But I needed to bring it to your attention, and I don't know, Kathleen, if it needs approval or not, but I wanted you to know it's not going to be a secretary's position.
You're
anymore.
creating a new position, so it
Correct.
does have to come through the board, and which is fine, because I agree totally that it should be a separate position.
Okay, so
My-
may I have a motion?
My only
Yes.
comment on that would be similar to the way that Danielle's role is going to change with the changes to the
Well,
budget.
we need a motion on the floor before we can.
I'll make the motion for the executive assistant to the people services director position to be moved out of the union.
I'll second that.
I need a second.
Bill did
Bill
it.
seconded.
Bill
it.
seconded. Okay, now we can discuss it.
I think we need updated job descriptions,
Correct.
right? That identify how it's different, just like Danielle's gonna need an updated job description because taking on the HR pieces, right? All of that, we need to make sure that that's captured as part of whatever this is.
I had sent, and I don't know if you gave that to the board members. I have a copy of it, but I asked April to jot down the duties that she does that is different. And it's like 2 pages of different duties now. So we need to add that, you're right, to an updated job description. So we will do that, and we will do Danielle's.
Job descriptions, when it has to have what certifications are, I think it has to have what certifications are required. Right?
Yep.
What that person's expected to do from a training, like you said, they train teachers, what they're expected to do from a training perspective. So that, if the person decides that whatever you negotiate for their salary is not enough and they want to go someplace else, that we have something to hand to a
The next
candidate
person.
for the next person.
We're living that right now with accounts payable. So, yes.
Yep. So I think as long as the job descriptions are captured, and like I said, similar to the other jobs that are changing because of consolidation of roles.
Yep, we'll update them and send them out to you. Take a look at them.
I think that includes you, right?
Yep.
Yours is gonna need an update as well.
Yes.
I'll add.
Okay, any other discussion on this matter? So pending a job description. We still want to move forward with the
Well,
motion.
I don't, the superintendent will have the job description.
Right.
And the superintendent can approve it, but we need to move forward on this now.
Right,
Because that certain person is representing the secretaries in negotiations, and now she'll have to step back. Because she'll no longer be a secretary.
She's recusing her.
So
Yes,
they'll have to find another person, so we really have to move with this, and
okay,
I suggest we do it right now.
okay, all right then, and then I will hear any other discussion on this matter, no, okay. Right, so then I'll put the motion to the floor to approve the creation of an executive assistant to the pupil services director. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? That, the motion is approved 8-0. Okay. We have any old business? None, then we'll move forward with new business. May I have a motion to approve the increase in the price of lunches?
Motion to increase the price of lunches as per the food services letter that was submitted to us July 14th, 2025, identifying the grades pre-K through 4 was $3, moving to $3.10. Grades 5 through 12 was $3.25, moving to $3.45.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll move that motion to increase the lunch price as per the recommendation of the food services director. To the floor for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion passes. Any citizens' comments?
Oh, good, George.
Yes, George
Okay,
O'Neill.
okay. Thank you. Good evening, members of the board. I want to thank you all for your work you're doing under the really difficult circumstances. I'm speaking tonight and respectfully ask the board to take a careful and honest look at what non-essential programs might be reduced or eliminated from the fiscal 2025 school budget, while still meeting all state education requirements and fully funding special education services. I know these are not easy choices, but our student population has declined by about 20% over the past decade. And in the school budget, it now takes 70% of the town's spending. Voters have also rejected 3 budget proposals this year. I think that reflects a real concerns about what our community can afford right now. I'm asking if the board could help the public understand what options exist for scaling back in areas like advanced programs, extra electives, athletics, extracurriculars, non-essential transportation, or staffing not tied to mandated services. I'm not suggesting these programs aren't valuable, but I do think we need to show taxpayers that we're willing to make tough, thoughtful choices given the town's financial situation. I also note, and during your earlier discussion, that you've enumerated all the reasons why these are necessary: the demographics, the reduced population, increased costs, etc. And just like any other operation, when their costs go up, you have to cut back somewhere. So I want to thank you very much for listening and for your commitment to our schools and students, because I don't envy your position. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Okay, any others?
Greg?
I'm good. Okay, no other citizens' comments? Then I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay,
I'll second that.
right. Thank you all for being here tonight.